Good evening, everybody, and welcome. It is Monday night, which means that we are racing. Ooh, didn't push the button. We're racing here again at SARCO. It is round number 7 of our World Tour, and we now go to Monza with our Ferrari 333 SP. And man, oh man, what a crazy car. We start off on the short version of the Monza track and then head off into the GP. The guys have just started the race behind me, and I see we've got in the virtual commentary box Duncan live from the UK. Good evening, sir. How are you doing? Duncan, just keeping me company here as we're going. Can definitely see that our time zones are slightly different, Duncan, because it is pitch black here at night, and I see there's a bit of sunshine there on your side, but we won't get into that now. Let's get the racing screen up. And we will be racing. 15 minutes is the start for this first sprint race, and it is going to be an absolute cracker. This car is absolutely furious. Lots and lots of downforce. It gets up to around about 280 kilometers an hour down the main straight here at Imola, at Monza. Apologies. On the short track, not many people know about this, but it is a very, very short right. Coming off the start-finish line, then into a little chicane back onto the back straight, where we then join back onto the Parabolica and to do another lap. Guys, just making sure that everybody can hear us loud and clear, that you can hear the actual game sound coming through. We did have Joss Wilfred, who has come in as the first dibs here this evening. Adrian Bond is saying, "Yellow people of SARCO, fantastic race. Go Ferrari, absolutely love it." Stephen LaRue say, "Good evening all, let's go racing." Stephen, that's exactly what we want to do here this evening. So that is the start. We see Tyron out in front with Mafira, one of the killers, and that is Ian Parsons, who's got into the 4th place. And off the line is Silverback. A great start there, but you can see some of the cars just losing some traction off the line. And here's this first corner, very, very tight, a Monaco type track, not much runoff. And Torquay, a great start there for him. He's really moved himself up into 3rd position. Now we come back onto this back straight. You can see 12 cars now all flying it down the back straight into the Parabolica. Car off to the side. Will there be a move on the inside by Mafira? It looks like he has had a go. Cameraman Tim getting very confused there. But Mafira on the inside. He now moves himself up into 1st place with Tyron running the outside line. But he does have Ricky B in his slipstream, as they're going to be approaching that braking zone. Hard on the brakes. They're going to be 3 wide. Will Ricky B be able to hang on to that? No. He's unfortunately made huge contact there. Cars all losing rear wings, which out in front has now released Tsoki, who's gone very, very wide into that corner there. Luckily, no damage there for him, but there are going to be lots and lots of cars without that rear wing. Really going to be battling to keep this car on the track. Let's see if Torquay is able to hang on as he goes into Parabolica. Does run himself a little bit wide, but he is able to hang on to there. So now in a 2nd place is Ian Parsons. He's going to have a run on in the slipstream behind Torx, and contact there between Raphael. So Raphael's been spun back, and it's Killer Dave who's just moving some of those wings out of the way. We have warned the guys that this corner is very, very unpredictable, and that's because you don't see it coming. Then all of a sudden it is a sharp right-hander. Killer D is swerving side to side as he gets himself up into 3rd place. Adrian Bond saying, "Well, crazy cars, awesome, great to see. Go Silverback," and that's come from Adrian Bond. Happy to see Reese racing after getting concussed in the karting yesterday. I don't think he was concussed, just a few ribs. And don't let a broken jaw and 2 missing teeth stop you, Reese. Go for it. So out in front is now Ian Parsons, being followed by Killer Dave. Cameraman Tim confused once again. And a Sly Pete in third place. He's just keeping it nice and safe, which with all the mayhem that's gone down, we've got a Memo who's moved himself up into fourth place, as we'll see him now coming into a Parabolica. Toki in a fifth place, so he is still in this fight with 11 and a little bit to go. We see Sarge, he has joined us, saying, "Evening Sarco, good luck tonight guys." Thank you Sarge for joining us. But there is a nice little battle starting to materialize here at the top, as it looks like we've lost Killer. No, he's actually dropped down the order. So Ian Parsons down into fifth place, which has now put Killer D out in front. Sly Pete's now in second place, and Memo is now getting himself in striking distance of Sly Pete. Extremely busy action here in the first heat here for the Bravo tier. That's way too fast. Oh, it looks like he was able to get that car slowed down in time. Wonder if that was just a little bit of lag. I do have Ricky B now having set the fastest lap of the 140 is a 44.47. So he is absolutely flying. And I must say that camera shot definitely does not give us a true view of the speed. We can just put up that speedo and just see how fast these cars actually do go. So going 260 kilometers an hour, then getting into sixth gear. Memo now up into a second place, starting to work their way through some of the back markers. Oh, little spin in the background there. Looked like it was Dave that had lost that grip, which has now put Memo up into first. So he'll have the inside line here, knowing that there is a back marker in front. The back marker goes wide, but now we've got Sly Pete who's right behind him. So that is now the battle for first and second place, with Dave 1.6 seconds behind. Using those gears to get that car slowed down. Remember, going a little bit too deep there, and it looks like we've lost Sly Pete. Little disconnection there for him. Remember, jumping behind one of the back markers who has definitely had a massive change to that car. So with Pete, unfortunately, it's disconnecting. That has put Dave up into second place and Toki into third. Ricky B a further 19 seconds behind. So 8.5 minutes left to go. So this is when it starts becoming survival. Guys just needing to hang on to their current positions. So we have lost Mafira, Sly Pete, and James had disconnected as well. No, James is still there. I see there is Rafiki. Silverback is Raphael in sixth place. So currently the leader here with 7.5 minutes, just over 7.5 minutes left to go. So we're just about halfway. Memo here on lap 10. He does have Dave looking to hunt him down. Then in a third place is Toki, 2.8 seconds behind the man in shot in the Momo red and yellow livery. So to the drivers that have disconnected, remember that we can still get you in for the main races. That is very close on the brakes there, as Dave takes a nice tight line through there. And it's all about just making sure that you are keeping that car in the black stuff, because there's definitely not much traction on the green stuff, that's for sure. So I do see that Ricky B has set the fastest lap time, 1:42.8. So there's the man, Ricky B. He is down in 4th place, so he is just ahead of Killer Dave, who is in 2nd place. So you can see 30 odd seconds behind, and using as much of that track as possible, as Dave in the background has a little spin. He's bounced himself up against the wall, which has now allowed Torquay to go through. But it looks like Torquay has also found the wall, because that car seems to be swerving a little bit to the left and right. And through some of the practices is that you see that these cars have so much grip. You are able to push them to the max, but if and when they do let go in a huge way. And the damage is quite pronounced once you do connect a wall. As you can see, a car on the inside. So we are now down to 8 drivers. So Ian Parsons is down in 5th place, and Raphael in 6th. So far the drivers that will be collecting points here this evening are Memo, Torquay, Dave, Ricky. Oh, a pit there for Killer Dave. I'm not sure whether he had chosen to go into the pit or whether he had made a mistake. It doesn't look like there's too much damage on his car, but I could be very, very mistaken. So still the current race leader is Memo, with about 5 more laps to go. He is being, I'd say, chased down by Torquay, but he does have a good comfortable lead of 11 seconds. Oh, Memo going a little bit too deep, and that should allow Ricky just to move through. So a shot down the back straight towards the Parabolica. So Memo running himself just a little wide going into Parabolica, but he still has a 15 second now advantage over Torquay. And there is a little battle. That is the 2 killers. So we've got Killer Dave in front in a 4th place, and just behind him that is Ian Parsons, Killer 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4. There is a very, very slow moving yellow car. I do have a Jim going into the pits. So Torquay in the 2nd place, he finds himself heading into the pits now as well, seeing that there is no rear wing. There are some retirements. We can see 2 cars sitting in the pits there. So Torquay has magically got his rear wing back, and that is now promoted Ricky B up into 2nd place. Nice tight line there for Ricky. And Ricky now battling very closely with Memo, and Ricky is trying to unlap himself. So Memo just allowing Ricky to go around the outside. So Ricky, it does overtake Memo, but that is not for a position.
Thank you.
So on the brakes, Memo currently leading. Torquay is still in the pits, so he is currently going to be taking up 1 point if he does hang on to that current position. So Ian Parsons looks like he has had some contact there. Dave. So Dave is up into third place. There's Ian, so he was ahead. He's now dropped down into fourth place. Then Raphael, he's in fifth. 1 minute left, and let's just see where Memo is currently on the track. So he is currently having a nice little battle with Ricky B. Ricky B is actually the car ahead, apologies. So we will have one last lap. So Memo currently leading here on lap number 19. So you'll get in a 20th lap, and it just shows you how short this lap is, 45 seconds.
Going to be the longest 45 seconds of his life.
Without a doubt. So yes, Duncan, thank you for joining.
Sorry, I had to put some charge in the phone.
No problem at all. So Duncan is catching up on the last couple of seconds here of the Bravo tier. In the sprint race, we've got Memo, who's had a very, very convincing race here. As I say, that he goes right on the outside on the grass as he enters into Parabolica. But Memo will come home in a first place in the qualifying sprint race, and that will get him to start in a sixth place. Ricky B loses that rear, sees the front bumper, and he is collected by another car. What if this is just now panic stations for Ricky B, because that looks like that is actually Memo who's crossed the line. So Ricky has got half a lap to try and just keep it together here. So Killer Dave has completed his race, as well as Ian Raphael at the back there. He has completed it as well. Ricky B in a second place. Johan, he will take a point, and Raphael will come home. Sorry, James will come home in seventh, with Jim in eighth place.
Well, Memo won. That's it. I'm not going to hear the end of it. Let's see who he thanks in his little speech tonight.
Well, he hasn't completely won.
True. But that's as good as enough for him. That'll do.
Well, I must say that was a really, really good drive there from him. And how he was able to accomplish that was by just keeping his nose clean. And by him doing that, it helped him to take those 6 points. We just want to make sure that we don't hear what's happening in that lobby, because if some guys do feel that they were unceremoniously taken out, there might be a few choice words that is not user-friendly, so to say.
They're not going to be broadcastable.
That is exactly that. Right, so we're just getting the starting lineup for the second race, while Memo in the background will be just updating the settings. We're just going to get the reverse grid up and running, which means that we'll have Torquay starting us off in first place, Raphael in second, Ian Parsons in 3rd, Dave in 4th place, Ricky B in 5th, and then Memo in 6th place. Right guys, so the new starting positions are up. We're just waiting for the green light there from our host Memo, and we'll get into the second race. That is 17 laps, 1 warm-up lap, then we'll go into a flyer rolling start, and we will be racing. And oh man, I'm really looking forward to this full race. I just know that there are going to be some incredible high speeds, lots of overtaking opportunities here, and that is going into the first chicane. There's an opportunity into the second chicane. Trying to set yourself up through Ascari is not always a good idea, but then getting a great exit out of Ascari, setting yourself up on the inside through Parabolica is definitely another opportunity. So lots of places there, but it's all about who is going to have a absolute cracker, who can keep the car on track, because it does seem like the car is a little bit of a handful, and it's all going to come down to who is patient and who takes those opportunities. Just jumping back onto the stream to see who has joined us. We do see Kathy Hurd, one of our SARCO drivers, fan favorites, Terry Wolford. Peter Hardeman, he is saying almost had that race. Damn DC, very unlucky there, Pete, without a doubt. Stephen Aru saying well done Killer D. Morris Abortma saying enjoy fellas. We will see Morris a little bit later this evening in the Alpha tier, and I'm pretty sure that the Alpha tier guys are watching to see what is happening here this evening. It is lots and lots of traffic. It is very tight in that short format of the Monza circuit, but now we can go into the GP circuit and spread our wings a little bit more.
I think turns 4 and 5 are going to be interesting.
Well, that's one of the things that we had mentioned in the driver's briefing, is the first chicane is generally not the issue. There might be a little bit argy-bargy, but then what happens is going to the second chicane, that's when the adrenaline is still pumping, and there's generally a lot more, and that's because you can make a bigger mistake there because of how much faster you arrive there from the start.
Yeah.
So 12 drivers back, and if you did miss the starting lineup, is Toki will be out in front, followed by Raphael, Ian Parsons in 3rd, Killer D in 4th, Ricky B in 5th, and then Memo taking that sprint race. 6 points there for him. He'll find himself down in a 6th position. So this is just the rolling start. The guys will just get themselves into positions, and we do hope that our drivers are not plagued by the load shedding stage 2 that has come into effect this evening. So I am fortunate enough to not be affected by the load shedding at all.
Whoa.
Oh, sound like you had dropped something there.
Phone's balanced on the steering column of the steering wheel.
Ah. Fair enough, fair enough.
Very nearly balanced off onto the floor.
So the drivers are now heading down the back straight. Gonna start getting themselves ready to go into... Whoa! Lots of braking there. Here into Ascari. Our race leader, Torquay, is currently just leading the way. And while they are making their way, just making sure that I've captured the points correctly so that we are able to update the points quickly and know that who would have been the overall winner for this evening. So now the guys will start getting into the starting positions. They're going to approach the start-finish line. And there we go. We are now racing. And Torquay has got himself a little bit of a gap. But we have lost a driver now into the first braking zone. And everyone does seem to be nice and clear. There was a late braking moment there for Tyron. But everyone is through safely. That is what we want to see. And it looks like that Raphael was a little bit cautious there coming out of the first chicane, because Johan has been able to open up a bit of breathing space there for him. And that's exactly what you want at this type of race. Get the gap and let the guys behind you fight for those positions, while you just focus on getting a rhythm together and start pulling away. Oh, car wide in the background there. Oh, Ricky B looked like he almost got a nose taken off there, and guys trying to just get around him. But it doesn't... Oh, there is somebody at the back, and that was Reese. Looked like he went off. But now out in the front, we've got Johan starting to pull away. But I say pull away, but that gap has closed down ever so slightly, with Raphael starting to come back. Torquay giving us a little flash as he obviously is watching the stream. Memel making a move to the inside. Is he close enough to have a move? Memel decides just to back out ever so slightly behind James. Apologies, that is actually a memo in fourth place, and that is Mafira. He's going to have a look to the inside as they go into the first chicane. Memo backs off and allows Mafira to go through. So a great move there for Mafira. Set himself up coming out of Parabolica and was able to move himself up the order. So Raphael now closing up to the back of the Yellow Canary of Torquay. And James in third place. He's doing well for himself up at the top there. But it is nice and congested in the middle of the track here, with Memo currently in shots in fifth place, Ricky B in sixth, and Mafira, who, Memo are running wide, coming through the first of the Lesmos. Oh, we've just lost Killer D. Disconnection there for him. I'm pretty sure that he's going to be very upset about that. Little flash of the light there for Torquay, who's in a second place because Raphael has moved himself up into the top spot. And Mufira starting to put pressure on the back of Raphael. They're going to be side by side just about as they cross the line. But Mufira on the outside is going to touch the grass. Is he going to be able to go around the outside? They're going to be too wide into the first chicane. Mufira has a little sneak through on the inside. Can he keep that car down as he puts that power on? But a great move there for Mufira. Basically forced that move, and James had to concede the place. But now he's getting extremely close in the middle there, because now we're looking at the battle for 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th as Ricky has a big lockup and rotates the car around. Looks like he got right up into the back of Memo. And Sly Pete almost arrived at the scene of the accident there. Almost collecting Ricky B as he just tried to compose himself and running on that curb on the first of the Lesmos. That is quite tricky because that car does not like that curb generally. So Ricky B now having opened that gap of a second between himself and Sly Pete. James hitting the rev limit coming out of the Ascari. But now this is slipstream action. You can see 280 kilometers an hour down the back straight, down into 3rd gear through Parabolica. Now 1.5 seconds. It looked like Memo went in a little bit too deep into the first chicane. So currently out in front is Raphael. He's got a gap of 1.6 seconds. Then in 3rd place is Mufira, who's putting on an absolute sterling job here. Mufira chasing down Johan, because now that is the battle for 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. So the first 6 places separated by just over 6 seconds. And Mufira getting an absolute cracker drive coming out of Ascari. You can see that he has bettered his delta there by 0.018 of a second. He's going to be in that slipstream, topping out to 285 kilometers an hour. Chasing down the man in 2nd place, which is Toki. We will jump back. We will jump back to that first chicane action, but I just saw that Ricky B had got himself nice and close behind Memo. Mufira going to have a look to the inside. Toki's going to try and squeeze him. They touch slightly. They're going to go too wide. Little touch there on the outside of Mufira, and it looked like Johan didn't give enough space there, and Mufira was able to get himself through, which has allowed James to go through. And now Toki is going to be absolutely swamped because Memo's going to have a look around the inside of Bassiano. They're going to be too wide into the braking zone at the 2nd chicane. Toki will be on the inside. Will lock up of the rear for Memo, so he is unfortunately missed out there. He is going to rejoin down in 6th place. But now Ricky B is going to have the opportunity to get himself now up into 5th. And that is what happens on the pressure. It looks like Memo just snapped 1 gear too many, and that it just locked the rears and just rotated in the background. You can see Sly Pete having a much better run coming out of the 2nd Lesmos. So he's going to move himself up into 6th place as they go into Ascari. And as we jump to James, a little spin there. He is recovering himself there. Hold the tight line as he is going to allow Pete to go around the outside. So fastest sector 2 for Reese, 36.078. And James just not able to get his composure back just yet. So Ricky B has now moved himself up into 3rd place as Johan goes into the pits. So 10 more laps left to go, and it has just been action, action, action. So both Raphael and Toki into the pits. So Raphael is being properly chased down here by Mafira. So Mafira did say on the Discord that he was apologetic for the bump into the first corner, that he was out of control. He did get a bump himself. So he did start near the back of the order, but here we find him now up into second place and in a great position to pressurize for the lead. Another little battle that is continuing. This is now for 5th place. Memo now chasing down Sly Pete up towards the Ascari. Memo just touching the dirt on the outside, not where you want to be on the braking zone. So a best lap delta there for him, half a second quicker than he has gone before. But it is Ricky B who's got the fastest of the deltas there. 35.8 is that second sector delta. So 9 laps left. Memo goes 0.02 of a second quicker than his fastest lap. We jump to Mafira, who is now within a second of Raphael. And while Mafira is within a second, we've got Ricky B starting to close these guys down. There he is in the background there. That is the 3rd place driver. So he has now got himself to within 2 seconds. So he might be able to come and battle for this lead, as a faster sector for Ricky B now comes up a 35.2. So Dakin, here's a question for you. You've got 9 laps left to go. You've got the championship leader in 3rd place chasing you down. Do you try and defend for 10 laps, or do you just let him go and say, well, let me rather just get myself some points and live to fight another day?
How is the points standing?
So Ricky B is way out in front, but as I say that, we've got Mafira, who's had an absolute crack of a drive coming out of Ascari. So he went around the outside of Raphael and now has got himself up into 1st. But now Raphael's going to have the likes of Ricky B to contend with. Cameraman Tim confused once again. That's screaming V12. You can see the advantage of the slipstream. 295 on the brakes. Will he be able to get that car stopped in time? Yes, he will. Looked like Mafira just straightened his line out. Ricky B, great drive on the way out. So he's been able to get himself ahead. But they're all going to be side by side going through Bassiano. But Ricky B able to get himself ahead just before they come into the braking zone here at the second chicane. Is Mafira going to have another lunge? Oh, big lock up there. Mafira goes straight on. So see Mafira just slowing down, allowing Raphael to go past. Let's see if he lets Ricky B go through as well. Sure, had a little bit of a heart-stopping moment. I thought that Ricky B was going to have a look to the inside and Mafira was going to cut him off completely. But now change of the leaders once again. Raphael now back into 1st place.
Now he has to defend for the next God knows how many laps.
So screaming down the back straight into Parabolica. So this battle for 1st and 2nd as well as 3rd is still not over. We're now on lap number 10, so 7 laps left to go. Oh, Mafira just getting that car slowed down too much, losing a lot of that speed being carried through the corner. You can see how Ricky B has closed up that gap completely, so he's right on the back now. So Ricky B having a little show, oh, a little clip, and Mafira unfortunately goes off.
Oh,
that looked like Mafira was about to be launched into orbit. Well, that's Mafira fighting on the grass, coming out of the second of the Delesmos. So you see that James has moved up into 9th place. Rebellion, that's Tyron, he's moved up into 10th. And that's because we've got a Jim who's now gone into the pits. Memmel's also moved up the order. He's now up into 6th position. Whoa, that was so close. Because we had Raphael peeling away to go into the pits. And Ricky B was right on his tail. So Reese now going and making his pit stop, which now gets Tyron up into a 9th place. You could just hear when Ricky B just changes a little bit too late. You can just hear how that car just over revs. So Reese now has completed his pit stop, and he is going to come out behind Memo. We'll lock up there for Memo. With Memo now in 5th position. We got some bumper pieces on the middle of the track. So there we see the car without the nose piece. Just want to see if these guys lose some places. Just want to see who that is. So they have moved right off the track and will more than likely be going into the pits. We'll just see who goes into the pits now, other than the yellow car, because that is Mafira, but there will be another car following him in. So that is one of the killers. So that is Ian Parsons, killer 123434. He's now going in to go get some more bodywork added. Reese now having a move on the inside of Memo, coming into Parabolica. Memo has to let him go. Reese put himself in such a great overtaking position. But now, was that all part of the ploy where Memo was able to now get into the slipstream? We know that from the slipstream you're able to get up to 295 kilometers an hour. That is 10 kilometers quicker than the car in front of you. So they are going to be a side by side into the braking zone. Memo on the inside, lock up there for him. He's able to squeeze through. They are too wide. Memo just not able to hang on to that, to carry the speed through the second phase of that chicane. But a great attacking move by Reese, as well as Memo trying to defend that and take that position back. But Reese, unfortunately, the victor there. So just having a look to see what's happening in the chat. Guys, if you are still watching, give us a shout out. Let us know who you're supporting here this evening. We are currently watching Reese, who is in 4th place. We are on lap 12 of 17. Brandon Hill said almost had the championship. DC raced one and could never ever join. Well, Brandon, I hope you are going to try connect this evening in the next 12 minutes or so. So Sly Pete now going to the pits. He is in second place. So Raphael will now take that second place back, because we did see him pit earlier. So Sly Pete now coming out of the pits, and he is going to be ahead of Reese as well as Memo. It sounds like the phone has fallen again. Lock up for Memo into the second chicane. And as we start getting closer, best lap there for Memo. So he's found 0.8 of a second for that delta for himself. But now we've got things really heating up, because Reese now on the back of Raphael. So there's your battle for third, fourth and fifth place. And just ahead, that is Sly Pete in second. So any one of these four drivers. Oh, big moment there for Reese. You can see how that car just steps out. Reese on the grass too much. Little side-by-side action there for Reese. Now Reese able to move himself up the order, which has now put Raphael down into fourth place.
Sorry.
It's all good. So a 0.11 better lap there for Reese, breaking his fastest time. Reese is in third place, and Raphael is not backing up. Johan is closing up on Mafira, but a little mistake there into the first chicane. Just not able to get that car. It's turned in. So one thing I have noticed is the guys aren't pushing the brakes all the way down. You can see the little red indicator light. All that's happening is just enough to keep the traction, because if you add too much brakes in the front, the wheels just lock up, and that it doesn't stop you for anything. As we see Ricky B now going into the pits. He did have a 26-second advantage. We'll see Sly Pete now. He is approaching the Parabolica. Ricky B is starting to move, but he is quite a way down the start-finish line already. So it looks like he will be safely out of the pits, as Pete is side by side, and he now goes quicker. But that's very confusing, because I don't understand who that other driver is, but Pete has now come out behind Ricky B. So Pete is in second. Reese now, he is going through the first chicane and runs a little bit too wide. So Raphael in third place, Memo in fifth, Mafira in fifth, Torquay in seventh place. Then we got Tyron, a difficult race here for him. He's down in 8th place. James, he's down in 9th, with Jim in 10th. So that was Jim, the car that I said I'm not too sure that is, but he is currently being lapped. So Memo nearly in that second distance between himself and Silverback. So see Adrian Bond, he's still cheersing as much as he can. Christina who saying hello Reese, so I'm sure Christina's happy to see Reese currently on the podium. But that is first, second and third place. So after 15 laps, first, second and third separated by less than 3.5 seconds. So it is still very much race on. All Ricky needs to do is just bring it home. We are on a lap 16. 2 more laps left to go. And that will be the end of this Bravo tier in the main race. Round number 7. So if you look on the map, you can see the white dots are all on the same lead lap. The blue dots are 1 lap behind. Slight little lock up there for Memo. And too much rear power, and that's completely spun him around. So that's going to allow Mafira to go past, as well as Torquay. So Memo now down in 7th place. So Sly Pete in 2nd place as Ricky B. He approaches the start finish line to begin his final lap here at Monza. We see Michael Koenig, he has joined us, saying nice chaps. Come on Michael, we need to see you on the track, so I hope you are going to be joining us for the next season. So there is some close action about to go down. That is Torquay chasing down Mafira. Just about a second is the gap there. So if Torquay can carry head speed through the first chicane, you should be able to set up a opportunity into the second chicane. And Reese disconnects on the last lap.
Oh no.
Reese was in 3rd place. So Mafira defending on the inside as Torquay goes way too deep and just missing the nose of Mafira as he moves himself back into 4th place. But can you believe it, Reese on the last lap disconnecting out of that 3rd place. Mafira taking a lot of dirt as he exited out of the second Lenesmos.
Is that Memo up the back there?
That is Memo. Correct, as Johan, big spin
Oh,
there
yeah.
for him, losing the rear. That's going to put Memo up into 5th place. So Johan on the last lap through a Scari, the rear just lets go. As Ricky B takes the win. Started in 5th place. Sly Pete finishes off in 2nd with Raphael in 3rd. Mafira, he will lead the battle between himself and Memo, come home in 4th. Memo finishes in 5th place.
Right?
Yeah, I clean my face.
Have you?
Yeah, my hands.
That's Dylan. Do you want to say hi to Dylan?
With Johan in 7th position, Jim in 8th, Ian Parsons, big spin there for him, coming through a Scari in 9th position.
Look. I'm already in bed.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
I'll be up in 2 seconds.
Australian disconnect on freaking lost on the back straight.
Guys, can we just have Ricky, Pete, and Raphael in the Discord, please?
Well done, guys. Good race.
Okay, good race, guys. I'm jumping over to the other side, okay, so I can direct the other one, okay? Nice racing. Sorry about that, Corky. You were right in front of you, spun up on the last lap.
Hey, how's that, bro? I didn't twitch once on that freaking the last lap. Or this second last lap. I'll go and mess it up.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm unlucky about that. So I'm jumping over to the other side, okay?
Tough luck, bro. I mean, I should never have done tires in any case.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
Ready for my excellent directing?
Oh yes, you do it very good.
Yeah. You totally persuaded me there, Jake. Thanks.
There's no commentators first again, man.